Yeah, I'm on tour, so I'm in the background again, alright? I don't want to hear any more questions about that. Actually, yes, I do, because it will increase the algorithm. So just make comments about the fact that, oh, I thought that this was a smush bug on my screen, but it's actually a smush bug there. It's giving me OCD. This little thing here, I can't stop noticing it now. Sucked in. I've made thousands more people notice that, and I'm not going to put my head in front of it. Or am I? Oh, no, I'm not! Oh, all right. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, that I've just deliberately tried to antagonize you heaps, I'm just going to make sure that I don't film anything untoward here, like my... Did you know that I like the Byzantines? All right, now I'm going to be talking about TikTok, obviously. Did a video on this before, but I do need to reiterate this. TikTok is for fucking morons. Now, proviso, I am a cigarette dealer myself. I have a TikTok account. Nobody fucking watches it. But that's because it's just rehashes of what we do on the YouTube channel for just another outlet, right? But I would just say, first off, that one of these things comes in, it's like, well, okay, if you're going to be using it for advertising your business, if you're going to be using it for anything that is going to advance you, and you have the self-control to just be like, post, done, gone. Or, better, you can hire someone. Remember we were talking about delegation? That's right. You don't remember that, do you? Because we talked about it on Jordan Shanks, where we talk about all of the things that are going to get you ahead in life, even more than the stuff that we talk about on the free channel here. The stuff that is at Jordan Shanks is truly revolutionary. It is the stuff of millionaires. Fact, a lot of millionaires have become millionaires purely because of that information. Now, so make sure that you sign up to that. But yes, the thing about TikTok is that it's even more schizophrenic and scattered than I am at the moment. That's saying something, isn't it? That shouldn't be happening. Like, that is so evil to the point. Did you know this? That the Chinese government sees TikTok, its own invention, as something that is more of a threat to its population than the US. The US has nukes pointed at China. Many, many nukes. And yet they see the damage that TikTok is doing to their youth. So they've enacted a couple of reforms that are amazing, just so we can go into the macro for a second. We're talking really macro, because we're talking about China. There's fucking a billion of them, isn't there? But one of the things that they did, very, very good, is anyone under the age of 14, you know what they get in TikTok? They just get a bunch of things of like, hello and welcome to Chinese Museum. Chinese Museum and the History of Warfare. Like, just stuff that is educational at least, going into their heads. The next thing, 40-minute cap every day. And how good's this? Every 6 to 10 minutes, I think there's something pops up in Chinese going, dickhead, get off this. You're wasting your life. What do you get here? You get a bunch of 13-year-olds being like, I kind of got tits, don't I? Right? That's what you get on TikTok here. It is just whatever sells. It is a completely unregulated market. It's kind of like just walking down the street and being like, yes, I'd like bounds of cocaine, please. Oh, and jailbait as well. Like, just everything. Everything that you could ever want that is just, illegal, borderline illegal there, constantly hitting you. And what happens when you are exposed to sin, as we've said before, it just keeps accumulating more and more and more. So what happens is, as I've discussed before, people ruin their lives on TikTok. This is a common occurrence. And you know what? There's studies coming out on this. Now, there's one coming out, I think, in October. And there was a little hint towards what is going to be out in the study of TikTok. You ready for this? It's called TikTok Brain. Now, TikTok Brain, if you go look at the scans of what happens to your brain when you're on TikTok, it's really interesting because a normal functioning brain, it shows, I think, red is the high developed points. Like the ones that are just running good. Like my brain right now. Red means good, green means duh, as in your brain's not doing anything in that part. Like a dolphin, how it's sleeping as it swims through the ocean, half of it at a time. Like the part that's working would be red and the other half would be green. So, your brain off of TikTok, meaning red parts. As soon as your brain's been on TikTok for 10 minutes, not 40, like the Chinese government has regulated it down to, 10, There's virtually no red left. The only red that's left really seems like I want sex. So, obviously, they were scanning a pedophile's brain for that one. Right? It shrinks how much you are able to concentrate. And as we discussed before, when you're watching television, your brain is working at 20% less capacity than it is when it is asleep. That's TB. TikTok is so much better at disabling your brain. Way better. And as a result, I don't even know how much more effective it is than television, but I have seen scans of people watching television before, and let me tell you, their brain was not that green. Because if you're a green spider, But, that's the other thing as well, right? Every time I kind of peruse TikTok. Now, every now and then you come across some memester that comes up with some pretty clever witticisms, yeah? And there's some pretty good memes on there. But in general, the people that are trying to be intelligent on TikTok, fuck, they're dumb. Because if you had anything remotely intelligent to say, you would need longer than fucking 60 seconds to say it, wouldn't you? So everybody that's saying things that are just it's just a very serious point, it's always dumb. It's always a really stupid point. Or it's snipped from someone who is very intelligent and articulate, and it's out of a much wider context of what they're saying. So all you're getting is just nothing. Which is why a lot of the time when people talk about this is another thing about TikTok brain. This is something that they start getting very defensive about it because they're addicted to it, right? It's like saying to somebody, I think you could cut back on the booze. I don't need to cut back on the booze. Now where's my gin? Right? They've got that going for them when they are in TikTok brain mode. Yeah? Well, actually, it's just the thing that happens to your brain after a while. It starts essentially shrink. That's what it does. It creates brain shrinkage. Isn't that terrifying? And it's obvious when you look at people trying to be intelligent on TikTok. They aren't capable of it. And I blame the medium. The medium is very different to other social media platforms because, like everything else, the Asians do it better. All the ones in social media beforehand, even YouTube. I understand that you can write comments on TikTok, but when you read the comments on TikTok, they're just another level of dumb. You know when you go on Twitter and there's a level of snarkiness and fuckwittery that's there, and then you go to Reddit and there's another level of just clearly some sad loser that hates everything and everyone and blames everyone in their life, and if they had access to a gun, they'd shoot up a school, right? It's just like that. What am I talking about? 4chan. Ooh. But same shit, really. It's just, okay, Reddit are ones that are just a little bit too loserly to even, fathom getting out of the house to do that in the first place. But, when you go to any of the other social media platforms, the fact that it is encouraging you to write, as in that is a way that things are shared. That is a metric that they use of, okay, they've got this many comments, and so we're just going to push that into the algorithm, right? That at least forces you to use your brain and break it up a little bit. It's not great. It's still terrible for your attention span. But TikTok is another level of fucked. Almost as fucked as this right here, because even I'm paying attention to it now. Hey, like this video if you don't like this. Huh? See, that's what I'm talking about. Engagement. What a segue, huh? That's what I'm talking about. There is engagement there. The engagement in TikTok, this is a really interesting way that I was reading some expert talking about it. He was saying that all other social media kind of at least encourages some form of social interaction. You know what TikTok does? It creates a universe where you're talking to yourself. The closest that you get to it, because it keeps just, and it's got a much better algorithm than the rest of them at curating exactly what you want to see. Little 6-second spurts of it. You don't even remember the last 3, do you? Here's another one. Don't even fucking think about the fact that you can't remember anything. That's what's happening to your brain. It's just getting constantly bombarded as your brain shrinks in real time. You can see it like the fat guy in Thinner and Stephen King. Right? That's what's happening to your brain when you're watching this stuff. But the other thing is that when it is in its little universe, it's encouraging you to talk into TikTok. This is why a lot of losers that should never put their face on camera are putting their face on camera now. And it's like, yeah, okay, I suppose everyone's entitled to a voice, except that class of freaks. And those freaks are the ones that are doing that. And the reason they're doing that is because the medium is encouraging you to make content for itself. This is what's so much more efficient about it than the rest of it. Before that, it was other people like, yes, okay, it's like, yeah, everyone can have a go. But this one is actually just like sort of targeting your brain to just be like, yeah, talk into it. And you can see it happen. So there's this weird dichotomy that's happening as well, because there's obviously a lot that has to do with Gen Z and being very, extremely self-conscious, as we discussed before in a Gen Z video that I did. But their generation, unbelievably self-conscious. They're also dumber as a result of TikTok. It is the science is very new on this, but it is going down the same path as cigarettes, right? Like, it's like we can't do a lot of long-term studies because the technology isn't that old, but what is coming out already, like another thing that was called TikTok tics, you know what that is? People are mimicking, that are TikTok addicts, mimicking the way that people that have Tourette's, the crazy lady on the bus that can't help herself from just swearing, they're doing the same thing because of TikTok. It creates an artificial Tourette's in you. So, now that that's sunk in, this idea that you're interacting with yourself. So it's just curating everything. It's getting very, very, very good. Much more effective than all the other algorithms of tailoring information specifically to you, which is why, and this is the hilarious thing that I always hear all the time, people always say, oh, you got your information from TikTok. And then they go and spout out a bunch of things that they got from TikTok. And they don't see the contradiction in that. Like the basis of critical thinking just completely wiped from this medium. This medium is terrible for your brain. There's nothing like it in human history. I can't remember who was saying it, but it was such a scary thing. There was like social media is this worldwide experiment that is happening on all human beings at once, and we have no idea what this does to people's brains on the long run, right? But all we can know is that it's doing terrible things, and TikTok is the next level. It's the worst one by a mile because it is making you focus on you all the time. And you know what someone who focuses on themselves all the time is? They're a crazy person. It's making you insane. And it's very obvious from people who haven't been on TikTok that just go on it and you're like, what is this mash of just these endless human beings with these dumb, really, like they shouldn't have these opinions at this age, endlessly hitting you over and over, and it just keeps going. There is a reason for this. It is linked to the medium. This is like when there was cocaine and then crack cocaine came out. That is TikTok. So all I'm just begging you, if you want to succeed in life, as I've said before, a lot of self-help that comes out now, in this day and age, all of it's pretty much because everything is just a click at your fingers at this day and age, right? Like, you can do anything you want in life. Like, not to brag, but we've kind of created an alternative media avenue in this country that propagates at least the side of the opposition party in a democracy that never existed in the past 100 years. It was always newspapers, and then all of a sudden we came along and went, fuck that, they're all lying, right? And now we're getting numbers that just put the Australian and the Financial Review and the Sydney Morning Herald to shame. And that is because of concerted, concentrated effort, and me, not perfectly, but understanding at least that I should be staying off of social media for, just using it as a sparing tool and trying to restrict myself as much as possible. As I'm always saying, look, that's my phone. I can't get TikTok on that shit, can I? So I'm saying, look, TikTok, fine as a tool, terrible as a time spend. Do not sink your spare time into TikTok, because the reality of the situation, you want to know the reality? You don't have spare time. You have a very finite amount of time. And the scariest thing about TikTok is it's something that is like a lot of other things, right? Like a fun simulator. This is the whole thing about this. I kind of make elements of it that are fun, but I'm always trying to put a message into the things that I'm talking about, so I'm not wasting your time. At least you're getting something substantive out of it, right? But things like TikTok, things like even TV, Netflix, all that kind of stuff, it's sort of like it gives off the flavor of fun, but it's not. It's a complete waste of time. It activates similar chemicals in your brain to what a unique novelty experience with friends is, which is usually what you would describe as fun. It's something similar to that, but it kind of just keeps you in this stasis pod mode. So you are this consuming guy with bald hair living in a goo pod. Cringe. Not it. Bad take. Tone deaf. Racist. Every human experience ever is racist. Right? You don't want to be that person. And as Mark, this is something else as well, right? Like Marx Brothers, I can't remember which one of them, right? But he was saying that television made me rich because every time someone turned it on, I went into the other room and read a book. That's something to live by, especially in the 21st century. That is why most self-help books that are coming out now are mostly just about, stop using TikTok. That's what they're mostly about, because we discussed before, if you're able to do that, you are ahead of virtually everyone else in our generation. You actually at least have the ability to accumulate skills, and skills take years and years and years of refinement, and you cannot do that if you have a TikTok brain. So do me the favor, if you do have TikTok on your phone, can you please get rid of it? I'll take the hit, even though I'm supposed to be hitting my own fans with TikTok, but I don't, especially if you listen to Jordan Shanks. You were built for better things. That's why you're watching this content. That's why it resonates with you. And that's why you have to get off TikTok, because you have something to offer. And that evil tool will rob you of every fiber of your attention, which is the only thing you have that you can accumulate into something else, right? Like, it's kind of like the soil of which every plant grows out of. Don't give that to the Chinese. All right, anyway, if you like that, make sure that you sign up to Jordan Shanks, and you will be getting reminders all the time of how to succeed, and you will be getting them to the degree that people have, as I said at the beginning of this video, become millionaires just off of that information. All it takes is a little bit of elbow grease, but it is a tiny, tiny investment. What is it? A couple of bucks a week, and you get millions of dollars out of it? Guaranteed. Every single person that's done it has. But I get all these thank yous all the time of people coming up to me and saying, my life has changed. Every time I do a show, afterwards, I get 5 or 6 people always coming up to me, always with great skin, and they're always saying, thank you, blah, 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 blah. This is how my life has improved. It is always a result of Jordan Shanks. Make sure that you sign up and get the fuck off TikTok.